Okay guys, Brent Hull Build Show, talking today about shutters, how to get them right. There are rules, there are ways of thinking about shutters you're not doing or you should be doing, and we'll go through all the right things today on the Build Show. Shutters, okay? It's a small detail, right? And today in many houses and in many buildings, it becomes a sticker that people apply, well, we want something traditional. So they put some shutters by their windows. Now, historically, there's some great history about shutters, right? The millwork catalogs like this one. This is 1892. This was called the sash, door, and blind manufacturers, okay? And blinds had to do with inside and outside blinds. Now, what was going on? Realized that shutters were something that were the air conditioning, for lack of a better word, right? If you had a house, or imagine yourself in the 1850s or 1890s, and there is no air conditioning, right? So you are managing the heat and the cool in your house by opening windows, by closing windows, and by blocking sunlight with blinds and shutters. So louvered blinds and louvered shutters versus paneled shutters, all things for security, all kinds of things that blinds and shutters used to function towards. We don't do that anymore. So turn 1950, 1960, houses in the South, and then today almost all houses have air conditioning or heating of some kind. So because they're climate controlled from the inside, we no longer have to manage the climate control from the outside. So shutters have become this lost detail, right? And so people don't know how to do it anymore. Historically, the way shutters worked is they actually, especially ones on the outside, is they actually closed over your windows so they would be tight, so they fit, okay? Today, shutters are glued, screwed, and tattooed to the side of a house, right? And it's like they don't move anymore. But literally, when you get those shutters right, it can make a huge difference. And if you go to the 1920s and look at those catalogs, you find all these really charming details, right? And all different styles of shutters, right? So that you have these cottage style shutters, more traditional shutters with the fleur-de-lis, you know, all kinds of different things. And look here, guys, in this catalog, they even have these all kinds of different symbols and things that you can put on your shutter in that top panel. The yin and the yang, you didn't think they did that in the 20s, did you? Well, there it is. So all kinds of charming things that were done. This is kind of the last period of when shutters would have been made operable. For new projects and new work, we use Timberlane shutters, okay? I like Timberlane because they are a custom shop just like us, right? You can't do everything, okay? And so we specialize in doors and windows, and I trust Timberlane to actually get the details right. I got a sample of one of their shutters here, and these guys can do everything. You may have seen it on our French house, the blue shutters that had a diamond pane in the bottom, louvers, and then a panel above, right? Pretty complicated, pretty something that you certainly can't just get from anybody, right? These guys can do that. Now, the way they construct it is they make it out of hemlock, which is a great exterior wood. They peg only one side because, as they told me, some people don't like seeing the pegs, and so one side is clear. Now, that isn't an historical detail. They just do that because some clients like the pegging and some clients don't. I love the pegging. I think it communicates, you know, how things were originally built and how things were made. But these guys do all kinds of custom things. The other thing they are the experts at is helping you pick out hardware, because hardware is a really important piece to get that shutter to kick out past the brick and lay it against your house with the right shutter dog and all the other different things that hold the shutter open. It's actually, because we don't do it anymore all the time, it's not like you can just go to the hardware store and get shutter hardware. All of those things are difficult to do and difficult to put together. And these guys are the experts, and I've called them on jobs before. They've walked me through. Hey, I've got siding in the upper part, I've got brick below, I need a different offset. These guys are experts. So getting shutters right really matters, guys. The Craftsman blog, if you follow on Instagram, he does some hilarious fails of people that have tried to put shutters on new houses. It's a joke. You know, typically if your window sash is here, the shutter actually sits down inside that because it's supposed to close over the brick mold and over the outside casing. So there is a specific way of getting it done right, and there's a lot of great details that really can make a big difference on your house. So there's a whole kind of way to fit your shutters, and you kind of see a little bit this in this rendering from a 1927 catalog, where you see the outside casing here, right? And that shutter is actually fitting inside that casing. They're not showing the hardware here, but the shutters are made in a way that they fit, they're above the sill, below the casing, so that they fit inside that framed opening. Now, ironically, they show what not to do here in one of their pictures. This is the classic mistake, right? Where you have a double window and you have a shutter on one side and a shutter on the other side. Now, historically, windows were never paired together, pre-industrial revolution. Windows were always separate. Georgian and Federal and Greek Revival houses, they don't start pairing and mulling windows together until the Victorian era. So this idea of having these shutters don't work, right? These shutters are decorative, okay? And so a lot of shutters today end up being just decorative, not really meant to work like this. And so you can see it all the time. If you start looking at houses, you'll start noticing these houses where the shutters don't fit the window. They may be too big, they may be too small, they may be too thin. We did shutters on our house, and we've got, this 1960s ranch style house. We had traditional windows on either side. Our shutters actually ended up getting pretty big, but it looks nice, right? And it looks like they fit over there, and of course they do. So getting shutters right is a little bit of a trick, right? You really do have to study the size of the window. You really have to understand the proportions, and certainly looking at the past and realizing how it was done in the past, they're great clues for getting it right today. This should not be something that is a sticker that you put on your house to make it look traditional, right? This is something that ought to communicate purpose, communicate that you know what you're doing as a builder or as a homeowner. And last, guys, make sure that you get the hardware right. Have you seen the shutters where the shutter's on the wall and they stick the shutter dog up here and it's stuck halfway, okay? The traditional shutter dog was meant to hang in a balance so that the bottom weighed more than the top, so that it was gravity led. So you would move your shutter back, the shutter dog would come over and it would stay in that position. It was always underneath the shutter. It was never at the side of the shutter, kind of wedged in place. I know that some decorators look at it and go, well, I can't see the shutter dog if it's down there behind the hedges. Again, learning to communicate the proper way of doing it so that your shutter, if you drive by a house and a shutter dog is stuck halfway up the shutter, you know that that person doesn't know what they're doing, okay? Shutter dog goes down here to hold this shutter open, never on the side. All right, guys, if you're really trying to show that you know what you're doing, really understand the old ways of building, then using the proper shutters and shutter dogs and shutter hardware and everything else really will make a difference on traditional houses, on this traditional style. Getting the size right really does matter. So if you want more information on getting right shutters and you're looking for a company, go to Timberlane, timberlane.com. Check out their thing. They're also doing garage doors now, so they're a great resource for getting traditional details back into your house. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.